Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people. Well, welcome to another Transfer Tuesday here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. I'm your host, Nyomi Banks. And today is different. Today, I am pulling the curtains back completely. And I am sharing something so deeply personal, so vulnerable that I am right now. I'm nervous, I'm shaking, but I am so full right now. You know, as I prepare to speak these words to you, I'm prepared for it. Well, I'm preparing for it. This is the beginning of the new July series called Preparing for Transformation. And I couldn't think of a more authentic way to start than by sharing my why. This deep soul stirring reason that's behind the reason of my choice to decide to choose explant surgery. Now, for over 20 years, I've carried breast implants in my body. 20 years of a journey that started with one intention that has led me to a completely different destination. Today, I want to share with you my journey, not just the decision, but the why behind it. Because understanding your why, my beautiful people, is what transforms a medical procedure into a spiritual rebirth. So if you can do me at this moment, we're going to take a quick break, all right? It's your girl, Goddess Nyomi Banks here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good. So I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
Hey, it's your girl, the Goddess Nyomi Banks, and make sure you tune in every Thursday night to Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast, where we talk about everything from love, sex, relationship, cultural differences, and so much more. We're bridging the gap between them all, and we even talk about spiritual uplifting. You need to stop by. Me and Dr. Mike, as well as the BTG crew. We have some amazing guests that come through. You never know. Just make sure you tune in Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go to axnaomi.com and tell them Naomi sent you. All right, well, welcome back. Again, this is a very personal. Every series is personal, but this one is truly personal for this series in July. It's all about preparing for transformation. And if you guys have been listening from, the past few months, is that I decided to have an explant. And what is an explant? An explant is removing the breast implants that I've had inside of my body. I've carried these implants. I carried implants in my body for over 20 years. It's been about 22 years. My baby will be 23 this year. So 22 years. I got my implants in January of 2003. I replaced them with let's do this because I'm about to get deep and down. But before we do this, before we really get into it, I want to kind of ground ourselves before we get into this deep conversation. All right. So at this moment, can you find a comfortable space, a quiet space, wherever you are? And if you can just close your eyes and take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Now I want you to feel your body grounding into this present moment. Imagine a gentle, supportive light that's surrounding you, filling you with clarity, courage, and love. Now, as you continue your breathing exercise, I want you to open your heart to your inner wisdom. You know, that voice that always guiding your path. Now, this time when you breathe in, I want you to breathe in strength. And I want you to breathe out doubt. Now, this next breath in, I want you to breathe in clarity. And when you exhale, I want you to exhale and breathe out confusion. And I want you to place your hand onto your heart and feel it beating. This is your life force. This is your truth. This is your power. You are exactly where you need to be to hear what you need to hear. Now I want you to take one more final deep breath in. Exhale. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes. All right, my beautiful people. First of all, I want to again say thank you for just being here with me and sharing that space and that moment with me. And if you are new here to the Season of Self-Love podcast, it's something that we do every day, Monday through Friday, just to help ground us before we get into the topic at hand. All right, so today's message, you know, I started saying it before, but this started over 22 years ago. 22 years ago. I was 31 years old when I decided to have my first implants. I was married. Actually, at that time, we were separated. We were separated. I had just had my middle baby. She was July, maybe she was about 7 months. About 7 months when I decided that I was going to have surgery. So let me tell you, going into that and making that decision, and I just want to be honest. I want to be very honest. It was based off vanity. It was based off body imaging for me. I was modeling. I was just my singing career. I had that going, but that was a part of my mind. And after having my second child, gravity wasn't doing too well with my body. Now, if you heard the previous podcast, I said that I was in the itty bitty titty committee, right? And then I had my baby at 19 years old, my first child, and you know, I got a nice little fullness going on, right? I had a nice little fullness, but as I tend to go back to my actual weight, they were a nice size. So now, 10 years later, fast forward 10 years, 11 years later, I have my second child. And with her, I was on bed rest the whole entire time. So when I decided that I was going back into modeling, I was doing my singing career. And I remember looking at my body and I wasn't confident in my body. So I felt that if I was to get implants, that it will help me in my career with modeling and my career with singing. It will boost my confidence. And I remember sitting in the plastic surgeon office looking at before and after pictures. And I remember just dreaming on how this can change my life. I just knew that I was about to be the next best thing going, because that's what my mind took me to, because it was all about vanity. But the thing is me imagining that it did change my life, but just not the way that I expected. You know, for years, the implants served as a purpose. They helped me build a career. They boosted new confidence for me. They became a part of my identity. And when I transitioned over into the adult industry, they were a part of my brand. When I built my media empire, They were a part of my image. But here's what nobody tells you about making decisions from places of insecurity. You see, those decisions have consequences that ripple through decades of your life. So I want to say about 4 or 5 years ago, things started changing. I began experiencing symptoms that doctors couldn't explain. Severe vertigo just a few years ago that would leave me bedridden for days. Headaches so intense that I thought I was losing my mind. Brain fog. When I tell you about this brain fog, so thick that I couldn't string sentences together. And y'all know I love to talk, right? I love to talk. I used to be fluent with my words, just flowing like music. And I think the last draw of me deciding this is when I went to a neurologist, and I was going for my results of what I thought was an MRI. But come to find out is that he had he said he didn't do it, but someone had scheduled me for the wrong testing. So I actually got a CT scan. And that let me know that he wasn't a doctor for me because he wasn't paying attention to what I said or what my primary doctor was telling him the symptoms and everything was going on. We were trying to figure out what was going on with my migraines. But they kept putting me on different medications. And when I saw it was like a string of, okay, you have to do this. You have to take these amount, like this medication to qualify for this medication that might help you. And then you have to take this to be able to qualify for this medication that might do the trick. And then you have to take this for an amount of time to be able to get this one that it has been known and shown that it has been able to help people with migraines. So if you just heard me right now, I had to go through four different medications to get to the one that they said can possibly help with my migraines, right? Mind you, they still haven't went in and did the full testing of everything. So I remember leaving that office that day, confused, broken, overwhelmed, like, oh my God, what the hell is this? When I say I've done everything possible, I've done everything possible. Even the medication that they gave me, it really didn't help my headaches. It caused other things in my body to start aching and hurting, sharp pains going up and down my body. It was crazy, which was already happening anyway. So they just gave me something more just to enhance those ailments and pains that I was happening in my body. And I remember going into my Golden Rose room. Well, first I went to the herbal store to get some herbal stuff. And then I remember going into my Golden Rose room, and I remember sitting there, and no lie, I was in tears because I wanted to be whole again. I didn't want to be this shell of a person that I'm down more than I'm up. My body is down more than I'm up. And I know spiritually where I was at. You know what I'm saying? I knew I was like ready to go. Like, this has been the most gratifying time in my life that I accepted of who I am and where I'm going in life. But my body was saying something totally different. And I remember sitting at the altar, and I remember that prayer. And I remember asking God to just let me know what is happening with me. What am I supposed to do? And all I heard was that you need to take them out. Take them out. And I sat at my altar there for an hour, if not more than an hour. And I remember coming out of there. And I remember sitting down and talking to my husband. And I said, I think it's time for me to take them out. Now, let me share with you that I had thought about this years ago, about taking them out before. But then I was still full blown into my career. Even on a podcast, I still wanted that image to be seen. I wanted to be, with nice breasts, woman, because in my mind, one of the reasons why I got the implants, and I believe I shared that yesterday with Dr. Will when we talked about it, is that it made me think that I was more of a woman with full breasts than I was without them, if that makes sense. So through that whole process is me trying to mentally, emotionally, and spiritually just embrace that I am a woman without breasts, if that makes sense. And so I remember I was a part of this breast implant group. And I remember going in. So let me go back. So I went to my doctor. I had my primary doctor the week after. So he was like, so, how's everything going? How to go with the neurologist, such and such, such, such. So of course I told him my concerns on my neurologist, but I told him, let's not do anything else anymore. I don't want to pay any more money for any more tests. Let me do my due diligence. Let me take accountability for what I've done to my own self. And that was to have implants in my body. I said, I'm going to go do me a little bit more research. I'm going to go talk to some doctors, and I'm going to remove these implants. And then once I heal from these implants, then I will come back to you. And let's see how I feel then. And the look on this doctor's face was like, whoa, so you really going to do that? Yes, I'm really going. Well, how do you think you're going to feel after you remove? I said, my prayer is that I will feel great. And he said, I know I'm talking about, you're looking the way that you look. And I honestly said at that time, I don't care. I said, I don't care. If you can imagine how I feel when I want to work, my mind is going, I have so many ideas, but my body won't allow me to get out of bed. When my feet are swollen, my legs are swollen, my body is swollen, headache, pains, dizziness. When I say about disabling, it's disabling. I can imagine what people feel like that are in wheelchairs, that are paralyzed from the neck down. When your mind is going and you want to do something, you want to tell your body to walk and your body not walking. So then when I thought about, you remember years ago, you wanted to be a part of this. You wanted to remove that. And you were in these BII groups. Go in there again and see what those symptoms is. Now, as I go down the symptoms list, I check every single one of the symptoms. Every single one. Every single one. And I say, yeah, it's time. It's time for them to go. But also what I didn't share with you is why I was sitting at my altar so long is because I was thanking them. Because they are the very reason why I am talking to you right now. Because without me choosing to put these implants in my body, I wouldn't catapult in my career modeling the adult industry to be able to build this platform like this. And I know it's a timing thing because right now, I am like 80% whole. Right now, I'm 80% whole. And once I take these boobs out, this 10%, this other 10%, that's 20%, that's gone. I know I'm going to be complete. I'm going to be full in the wisdom, the spiritual wisdom that I have, the self-love that I have for myself. It doesn't matter what I look on the outside. I know who I am on the inside, and it shines. It shines so bright. So when I came to that conclusion of, okay, it doesn't matter what I look like on the outside,
I know who I am. I know what my spirit is. I know what my intentions is. I know what my heart is. It doesn't matter what I look like, because I'm not trying to appease or seek validation from anybody on the outside of me. I have my family. I have my friends. I have my community that's continued to build. So I'm no longer searching for that. And so then I knew that it was time. So then the stress came from, how can I pay for this? Because it's not cheap. It's not cheap. It's very expensive. So it's like, how would I be able to get the doctor or the insurance company to do this? And so as I was going through the research and looking at everybody's story, it'll take a while, because you will have to get the doctors and neurologists. So now you got to go through more tests. And even though I have insurance, it's still a copay to each one of these tests that I have to do, and medication. And it was like, it was time. So then again, a few months ago, when I was at my altar doing my morning meditation, again, that is where I received my clearest downloads. And in the stillness, in the sacred space, everything truly became crystal clear. It became crystal clear. It's like I saw myself as I was before my implants, as this young, insecure, looking for something outside of myself to make me feel whole. And then I saw myself now spiritually mature, deeply connected to my purpose, but still carrying these foreign objects in my body that no longer aligns with who I become. And in that moment, I knew, okay, let's solidify that. It doesn't even make a difference on how much money it's going to cost. It don't. You got it. So go get it. But this is the thing, knowing and accepting are two different things. Because let's be real, these implants has been, again, a part of my identity for over 20-something years. I want to say 22 years. They've been a part of my livelihood. They've been a part of my confidence. They've been a part of my self, my sense of self. And this is where that fear came in, and that fear was real. Yes, I made that decision. Yes, I knew it was clear and it was there. But that human part of me was there. What would I look like without them? I'm so happy that I went through this whole spiritual journey. Because even though that little fear came and flickered in my mind, I was able to allow it to go away. It went away. Then also the question in my mind was, how will people see me? I don't care. I was like, I've allowed people to see me with makeup. I've allowed people to see me do the most heinous things if you look at what society will say. But one of my biggest concerns is, will I still feel feminine? And I know I am. And I remember sitting there. I remember going through each one of these questions in my mind, each one of these feelings in my mind. And as I got deeper into that fear in that moment, it was like it was so many questions and clarity for each one of those deepest, fiercest moments that I had. There was an answer. But not only was there an answer, there was a vision for me. It was a vision for me. And I know you asked, and so you wasn't ashamed of it. You know what? I went through all of those emotions. And honestly, I'm gonna say this. I think there was no shame. There wasn't any shame about me deciding and choosing to put the implants in there. I understood why I did it. I understood why I did it. If I would have had all of the information about how toxic they can be to my body, then I probably wouldn't have decided that. But ultimately, that was my choice. And I'm not ashamed of the choice that I made. Okay. That's me. But did I feel guilt? Yes. Guilt hit me. And it hit me. I was going through, I have already decided that I had my appointment plan. My surgery is paid for in full. And I was looking in a group, and it was a post that was up about breastfeeding. And I remember with my last baby, I had my implants in. And I remember asking my then doctor about breastfeeding. Am I able to do it? And she was like, yes, it will be fine. Won't nothing come to it. And I had saw this video of this lady saying about her breastfeeding her baby, and one of her breasts had ruptured. It was like a puncture in the breast, and some of the silicone had came out into her body, into her system, and she had been feeding her baby toxic milk had gotten into her, and so they were very ill. The baby was very, very ill. And I remember in that moment feeling very guilty. It hit me, and really I had tears in my eyes because I knew I had breastfed my youngest baby. But even going back 12, almost 13 years, I remember talking to my husband and saying, I don't feel comfortable breastfeeding her. I think I'm only going to do it for a minute, a little bit, until I figure something out, but I don't feel comfortable. And with my first baby, my first two, I breastfed them for a few months, at least between 3 to 5 months. But with my youngest one, I only did it for about a month, if I even did a whole month, because it just didn't feel right. I just felt like there was something foreign in there. I don't know exactly what's happening, what's going with it. And I want to make sure that she's as healthy as possible. And so I moved away from that. I moved her away. But now looking back, I said I should have really listened to my body and not did it at all, because she does have things, that happen, go with her, with her. Her skin is kind of nice, not as smooth as, I would like it to be. Her eating habits are, kind of off. She has some things that's going on with her. And I could be the very reason of why that's happening. I could be, I am, and that guilt set in me for a minute. And I want to be honest, it's still there right now, but it's a little different. The guilt is a little different because I'm doing something about it. Not only am I going to take the implants out myself, but I'm using my platform to build awareness around breast implant illness. But not only that, but I've opened up my platform to bring some more amazing women and some more amazing professionals that have this expertise to be able to share their stories and share exactly what it is, And so as I sat with these feelings, I did my research. I talked to other women who had made the journey, and my why really became more crystal than ever. That this just isn't about removing the implants for me. That this is about reclaiming my body. That this is about honoring the woman who I've become spiritually, emotionally, mentally. But this is about removing the last barrier between me and my complete authenticity. That is my why. But that is one of my whys. You see, I spent over a decade doing radio, doing podcasts, and especially the past few years talking about self-love, talking about authenticity, talking about removing the mask that we wear. But I've been carrying around a physical representation of a decision I made from a place of insecurity. How could I continue to preach about loving yourself exactly as you are while carrying around proof that I didn't love myself exactly as I was? So my why isn't about shame or regret. My why is about completion. It's about coming full circle. It's about taking everything that I've learned about self-love and applying it to this final piece of my journey. You see, when Dr. Seuss, my surgeon, told me that I recommend that you seek therapy because you will go through something mentally with this. And I knew he was right, but I also knew that I was ready. Because see, this time I'm not making a decision from a fear of insecurity. I'm making a decision from love and from wisdom. So let's talk about a ripple effect. Here's what I want you to understand about finding your why. It's never just about you. My decision to share this journey publicly isn't just about my healing. It's about every woman who's considering implants because she doesn't love her body as it is. It's about every woman who is suffering from unexplained symptoms and wondering if it can be connected to her implants. When I sat at my altar and I received those downloads for this entire podcast series, I knew I had to share my journey, this journey in real time. Not after I've healed, not after I have all the answers, but right now in the messy middle of it all. You see, because transformation, it isn't pretty. It's not Instagram ready, but it's vulnerable. It's scary, and it's sometimes lonely. But it's also sacred, and it's powerful, and it's so very necessary. So my why is bigger than me. It's about breaking the silence around breast implant illness. It's about challenging the beauty standards that tell us that we need to alter our bodies to be worthy of love. It's about showing women that it's never too late to choose yourself. But let's talk about the deeper truth. Let's talk about the deeper truth of it all. That this journey has shown me that I've been carrying around with me not just silicone bags for 20 years, but I've been carrying around the energy of a 15-year-old girl, a 23-year-old girl who didn't think that she was enough. So every time I looked in the mirror, part of me has been seeing myself through the lens of that young woman insecurity. And every time that I've spoken about self-love, there's been a tiny voice whispering, but you changed your body because you weren't satisfied with what God gave you. So removing these implants isn't just about physical health, though it's important. It's about the energetic alignment. It's about finally completing something totally. So it's for me, so I can totally be able to say, I love and I accept myself exactly as I am. It's about stepping into my power as a soon to be 53-year-old woman who knows her worth, who trusts her body's wisdom, and who isn't afraid to make difficult decisions in service of her highest good. See, there was a lot of lessons that was learned. This journey has taught me so much about decision making, about courage, about the difference between choosing from fear and choosing from love. You see, over 20 years ago, when I chose implants from a place of I'm not enough as I am, to today, I'm choosing my Explant from a place of I'm exactly enough as I am. And I want my body to reflect my truth. The difference is so profound. See, when you make a decision from love instead of fear, everything changes. The energy is different. The confidence is different. The peace is different. But I also learned about the power of timing. I wasn't ready to make this decision 5 years ago. or even 2 years ago. But when you're truly ready, when your why is clear and your heart is aligned, the path opens up before you. Dr. Seuss, he appeared exactly at the right time. A surgeon who understands that it isn't just about removing the implants, but it's about helping women reclaim their bodies and their power. So real fast, I want to talk about the spiritual dimension. So y'all know I don't do anything without considering a spiritual aspect of, and this journey has been very, very deeply spiritual from the very beginning. I do believe our bodies are temples. They are vessels of our souls to do the work in this world. And for 20 years, I've been carrying foreign objects in my temple. Not because they were bad or wrong, but because they served a purpose during a certain season of my life. But seasons change, and I've outgrown the need for anything external to make me feel whole or worthy or beautiful. This Explant journey, it represents a homecoming, a return to my original design, enhanced by all of the wisdom and love that I gathered along the way. So when I remove these implants, I'm not going to go back to who I was 20 years ago. I'm stepping into who I've always been underneath, whole, complete, and perfectly exactly as God has made me. And to those who are considering implants, if you're listening to this and you're considering getting them, I want you to hear me clearly. I'm not here to shame you or to tell you what to do with your body, because your body is your choice always. But I'm here to ask you to examine your why. Are you considering this change because you genuinely want it, or because you don't think that you're enough as you are? And are you making this decision from love or from fear? There is no right or wrong answer to this, but there is truth. And whatever your truth is, honor it fully. So if you decide to get implants, do your research. Find a surgeon who cares more about your well-being than their profit. Have a support system in place. Know that this decision will impact you not just physically, but emotionally, energetically, and spiritually. And know that whatever you decide is not permanent, that you can always change your mind, just like I did. That's the beauty of choice, that it is always available to us and to those that's considering explant. And if you are listening to this, I want you to know that you're not alone, that the journey of removing implants is just as significant as the journey of getting them. Give yourself permission to grieve. Grieve the identity that you're releasing, the comfort that you found and how your body looked with the implants, the years that you might feel that you've lost to illness or discomfort. But also give yourself permission to celebrate. Celebrate your courage to choose your health over society expectations. Celebrate your willingness to prioritize your well-being over your image. And celebrate the woman that you're becoming. Now, I want to keep it real, so let's do that. Let's do that. Let's keep it real about the practical aspects of this decision. Financially, this is an investment. Insurance often doesn't cover explant surgery. So I am paying out of pocket. But I reframe this in my mind that this isn't an expense. It's an investment in my health. It's an investment in a piece of my mind. It's an investment in my future. And professionally, I have to consider how this might impact my brand, my image, my confidence on camera. But here's what I realized. My brand has always been about authenticity and transformation. And this journey right here is the most authentic thing that I've ever shared. personally. I've had to have conversations with my husband, with my children, with my close friends about what this means and why it matters to me. And that's why it's so important of having that support system. It's very crucial. So my surgery is scheduled for August. Between now and then, I'm doing everything I can to prepare physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I'm doing visualization exercise, and I'm imagining my body healing. I'm returning to my natural state. I have Dr. Real right there in my pocket where I can speak to him anytime that I want to. But if it's something that you want to do, and make sure, I say work with a therapist who specializes in body imaging and medical trauma. I'm also journaling about my fears when they do arise and my excitement. I've created a post-surgery care plan that includes not just physical healing, but emotionally and spiritual support. And I'm documenting everything because I believe in the power of sharing our journeys, not for attention or sympathy, but for connection and healing. And I won't lie to you, there is some fear. I am scared. I'm scared about the surgery itself, about the recovery, about how I feel about my body afterwards. And I'm also scared about being vulnerable in such a public way. But my faith is so much bigger than my fear. My faith is so much bigger than the scare that I have. My faith in my body's ability to heal. My faith is in my decision-making process. My faith is that this is the right choice for me at this time in my life. Fear for me is information, not instructions. It's telling me that this matters, that this is significant, that I should proceed with care and intention. But it's not telling me to stop. And I understand what the bigger picture is. This explant journey is really a bigger picture. It's a bigger journey where I didn't even think I would ever be. The crazy thing is that this little journey of mine that I'm sharing is taking us back on a journey back to ourselves. It's going back to our truth, to our power, to our original design, enhanced by our experiences. How many of us are carrying around things physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually that no longer serves us? How many of us are holding on to identities, relationships, habits, beliefs that made sense at one time, but they are no longer making sense, that they are now blocking us from our fullest expression? You see, this surgery for me, it represents my willingness to release what no longer serves me, even when it's scary, even when it's uncomfortable, even when others might not understand. So here's my invitation to you, my beautiful listeners. What is your explant? And I'm not talking about breasts. What is your explant? What are you carrying that no longer serves you? What decision are you avoiding because it feels too big, too scary, or too uncertain? Maybe it's leaving a job that's draining your soul. Maybe it's ending a relationship that's no longer healthy. Maybe it's moving to a new city, starting a business, or having the difficult conversation that you've been avoiding. But whatever it is, I want you to connect with your why. Not the surface level reasons, but the deep soul storing of the why. You know, that why that makes your heart race and your spirit soar. Because when your why is clear, the how becomes easier. And when your why is bigger than your fear, courage finds you. Now I'm making a commitment right now to you that I'm going to share this entire journey with you, the preparation, the surgery, if they allow me to bring the cameras in, the recovery, the emotionals up and down, the physical changes and the spiritual insights. And not because I need your validation or support, though I appreciate them both, but because I believe in the power of witnessing each other's transformation. When we share our journeys, we give others permission to embark on their own. When we speak our truth, we create a space for others to find theirs. You know, this podcast has always been about real transformation in real time. And this is as real as it gets. But I also want to take a moment to express my gratitude to these implants that I've been a part of my journey for over 20 years. They served a purpose. They helped me build a career, gain confidence, and navigate a certain season in my life. I'm not removing them with anger or regret. I'm removing them with love and appreciation for what they gave me, in recognition that there are a season that is complete. This is what mature decision-making look like. It's honoring what was while choosing what's next. And I know a lot about your vision. You know, I see myself after this surgery, not just physically, but energetically. I can see myself standing taller, speaking my truth more boldly, loving myself more completely. I can see myself helping other women navigate this decision, whether they choose implants or explant or something else entirely. I can see this experience becoming a medicine for the collective. I can see myself at 60, at 70, if Lord is willing, grateful that I had the courage to choose my health and my authenticity over comfort and being familiar. You see, that vision is what carries me forward when the fear gets loud. And here's what I know for sure is that this decision will impact more than just me. My daughters are watching. My granddaughter one day will hear this story. Women all over the world who listen to this podcast are taking notes. So when we choose courage, when we give others permission to choose courage, when we prioritize our well-being, we model that for everyone else around us. So when we make difficult decisions from love instead of fear, we shift the energy for an entire collective. This is bigger than breast implants. This is about women reclaiming their power, their bodies, their right to change their minds, their permission to choose themselves. But also about men reclaiming your power. It's about anybody making a choice, whether it's an explant of implants or boobs, or it's about an explant of things that no longer serves you. It's about making those hard decisions to want something different and better in your life, or even become whole and complete, whatever that looks like. But before we close, I want to just share some practical wisdom for anyone who is facing a major decision. First, get clear of your why. Not that the reason you think you should have, but the true why that resonates in your bones. Second, do your research. Talk to professionals. Talk to people who have walked this path. Educate yourself fully. And third, build your support system. Surround yourself with people who will hold space for you on your journey without trying to talk you out of it or into it. Fourth, trust your intuition. Your body knows, your spirit knows. Sometimes we just need to get quiet enough to hear what they're telling us. And fifth, give yourself permission to change your mind. What made sense 10 years ago might not make sense now. That's not failure. That is not failure. That's growth. And as we close today's episode, I want to leave you with a meditation that's been guiding me through my decision. And I know this is something that we did in the beginning of when I first started this podcast, is that we were doing too. And I thought today, well, actually this month's series, that we should do an opening and a closing meditation. So if this moment right now, if you would just close your eyes if you can and place your hand on your heart. I want you to feel your heartbeat, steady, strong, and wise. This is your truth detector. This is your compass. This is your guide. Now I want you to ask yourself, what decision am I avoiding? Because it feels too big. Because it feels too scary. What am I carrying that no longer serves me? Now I want you to breathe into that question. Don't force an answer. Just create a space for whatever wants to emerge. Now ask, what would love choose? Not fear, not obligation, not what others expect, but love. What would love choose? Now trust whatever comes up. Your heart knows the way. Now take one more deep breath in. And when you are ready, open your eyes. All right, my beautiful people. I want you to know that sharing this story with you has been one of the most vulnerable and empowering experiences in my life. That this isn't just about choosing an explant journey. It's all about us choosing courage over comfort, over authenticity, over approval, and love over fear. You see, your transformation might look different than mine. Your way might be completely different, but the courage it takes is the same. The love it requires is the same. The faith it demands is the same. So whatever you're facing, whatever decision that is calling you, whatever change is asking for your intention, you have everything you need inside of you to navigate it with grace and wisdom. Remember, this whole entire series is about preparing for transformation. So tomorrow, next week, we're going deeper into this topic, continuing with it. I'll be sharing practical tools for preparing mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and for major life changes. So until then, I want you to sit in this question. What is your why? What is your decision? Is your soul asking you to make? What decision is your soul asking you to make? And what transformation is waiting for your permission to begin? Trust yourself, my beautiful people. Trust your journey. Trust that you are exactly where you need to be to take the next right step. I love you. I see you. I honor your courage to transform. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. And remember, you are worthy of every good thing exactly as you are. Have an amazing Tuesday. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovering and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove
wholeness@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer.